because we're seeing it in our celebrity culture and it's everywhere in pop culture at the moment, that's making it more and more accepted, more and more common.
I am scared about that. There's a few things that I'm scared about. I think that, when, especially for young people watching their idols, if this celebrity who has access to all the resources, the chefs, the trainers, all this, if they cannot be accepted in this world without medical intervention, how the heck am I ever going to be?
Hello, welcome along to A Little Bit Extra. My name is Sharyn, and this is your escape from the shit show that is planet Earth. And in today's episode, I felt like it was one that was really important to do. It's a little bit more serious than what we get up to on A Little Bit Extra, but I feel like especially with, Critics' Choice and Golden Globes and the Oscars and the Grammys coming up, diet culture is in our feeds on social media constantly. We are seeing some of our favorite stars of pop culture just getting skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. So many of them are glorifying things like Ozempic. They are out there doing some crazy stuff just to look good in a few photos. And I just turned 40. I grew up in the heroin chic era where the model diet was a Diet Coke and a cigarette. Now we've got things like SkinnyTok. We've got Ozempic, which is a fantastic, fantastic drug for people that actually need it. There are people that require this medication, but there's also a lot of people that are just getting it from doctors, buying it on AliExpress, buying it on the internet, and using it for a quick fix to get skinny because that is what diet culture is telling us. Now, if you don't actually know what these drugs do, for example, Ozempic is a prescription medication that helps to regulate your blood sugar and your appetite. So it aids your weight loss by making people feel fuller for longer. These medications are great for people that are actually obese, for people that have diabetes and other things that require this prescription. But it is also tipping people over the edge, and people that may already have eating disorders are using things like Ozempic to keep themselves skinny or get themselves even skinnier. And because I just feel like it's being thrust on us at the moment with diet culture, I thought it was really important to get somebody on to talk about it, to break it down with all of the facts and give you some actual helpful advice on how you can feel good about yourself and also not buy into things like SkinnyTok, because SkinnyTok is dangerous and it is an absolute load of shit. So I would love to welcome to the podcast right now. She is a dietitian. She is an author. She is fantastic. She goes by Abbeyskitchen on social media, but this is my interview with Abbey Sharp.
Thank you. Hello. What a nice intro. I appreciate that.
Oh, I am so excited to have you here because I feel like you're such a big part of a very, very important conversation. And at the moment, especially with award season happening with celebrities, I feel like everybody is really on edge about, SkinnyTok and Ozempic and all of that sort of stuff. Do you feel like it's worse when we're seeing these people on the red carpet and stuff?
I mean, worse than what in real life?
Yeah.
I think, I think because of social media, things were so different when we were younger. Celebrities felt so far away, like we so out of reach. But now, because of social media, it's like, anyone can be an influencer. Anyone can become famous. And so those lines have been so blurred. And I think especially when it comes to this, what we're currently seeing in these body trends, if we want to call that, it does make it even more dangerous because the assumption that we feel is that, well, if they can achieve that, then I should be able to too. Whereas maybe, when we were children or teens, we maybe would have not felt that. We would have just said, oh, well, they're a celebrity. Like, we can't touch that. It's very different now.
And it's also crazy when you're seeing, and like I find it for myself, right? Like I have just turned 40. I feel more and more self-conscious about my appearance, my body. I've had 2 children. My stomach is literally sliced right up the middle. And so I'm sitting there being like, why don't I have abs? Like, I know people that have had 2 kids and they've got abs. I'm like, well, they haven't got a 20 centimeter scar right up their abdomen, Sharyn. So that's probably why. But when you see these celebrities that are just shrinking in front of us, so many of us, including myself, are having that moment where they think, oh, maybe I could just take Ozempic or something similar for 3 months and just get that quick fix. But it's not actually that simple, is it?
No, it certainly isn't. Though, of course, that is the dominant message right now, and that message is really problematic. That oh, you want to trim up for your holiday, you can take Ozempic, and that scares me. That really scares me. That's kind of where we're at right now.
It is wild. And, I think New Zealand, it's slowly becoming more and more common that people are using these drugs. And I will say that these drugs are fantastic for people who actually need them. But I do think, I go over to Australia and so many of my friends who do not need to be on it are on it right now because it's easier for their busy lifestyle than healthy eating and like going to the gym and things like that. Do you think there needs to be like bigger regulations around these sorts of drugs? Because what do they actually do?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, in terms of regulation, 1000%. And I haven't tried this myself. I live in Canada, but where these medications in the States are even more accessible, there have been a lot of journalists who have simply just gone online to one of these online pharmacies that are supplying compounded semaglutide, which is the active ingredient in Ozempic. And they are just plugging in fake numbers. Oh, yes, I have a BMI of 30. I'm, 45. And then next thing you know, no doctor is evaluating them. No one's screening them for disordered eating disorder history, or even checking, are you actually a BMI of 30, or are you emaciated as it is and struggling with an eating disorder? And the next thing you know, that shot is just finding its way to your door, no questions asked. It is terrifying to know that young girls can easily be doing this in their bedrooms without their parents knowing.
And it's also crazy because I've seen articles about people buying things like drugs like Ozempic or Botox and things like that on AliExpress. Like people are just buying it on there and being like, cool, it's super cheap. You don't actually know what's in it because we're not doctors or scientists. And so I personally feel like because we're seeing it in our celebrity culture and it's everywhere in pop culture at the moment, that's making it more and more accepted, more and more common. How do you feel?
Yeah. I am scared about that. There's a few things that I'm scared about. I think that, when, especially for young people, watching their idols, the people that they have grown up with, for whom perhaps they've seen themselves in, because of their culture, their ethnicity, their body, and to suddenly see that body diversity disappear before their eyes, it really does communicate a message of well, first of all, if this celebrity who has access to all the resources, the chefs, the trainers, all this, if they cannot be accepted in this world without medical intervention, how the heck am I ever going to be? And then also our perception of what a healthy or normal body is very quickly changing, where young people are now looking at a size 2 woman and thinking, oh, that's too big, that's too large. And I think what scares me, maybe more than anything, is this idea of hunger and the pathologizing of hunger that medications like Ozempic are now bringing into this conversation. It's something to fear. It's something to feel bad about. We need to snuff it out. We need to get rid of it. When since the beginning of the dawn of time, hunger has been the most important biological signal that we have as humans. If we didn't feel hunger, we would just wait around in a cave until something that did feel hunger came and got us, ate us.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we wouldn't have evolved as a species. And so it feels a bit dystopian to get to a point where we are so eager and keen to basically flatten that very important human experience.
Totally. And there was an interview last week that came out about Oprah. Now, Oprah does, from what I understand, she does have money in the game when it comes to weight loss medication. And Oprah was doing an interview talking about how she had taken her weight loss medication, similar to Ozempic, and then she came off it and she gained a bunch of weight. And so now she's back on it again. And then she's bringing in people like Serena Williams, who has been like the poster woman for strong, body positive women, and talking about how Serena Williams is now taking the drug and how amazing it is for her and all of that sort of stuff. How do you process that when you see these interviews? Because it sometimes can feel like they're glorifying this drug to people.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts. Well,
give them to us, girl.
Yes. So Serena Williams also kind of had some skin in the game in that she was a spokesperson for a telemarketing company that was specifically supplying GLP-1s. And, ultimately, I'm a knowledge is power person. I believe in body autonomy. I also do not believe in censoring science, even if it feels uncomfortable. And like we said, there's no doubt that these medications are absolutely life-changing to folks who they were intended to treat, which is, lifestyle resistant obesity, insulin resistance, persistent food noise. For those people who have been having this food noise their entire lives, this can feel like such a relief valve and open them up to other acts of self-care and health promoting behaviors. But two things can be true. And there will be a lot of people watching Oprah and Serena Williams who will be harmed by the social pressure to use these medications when the benefits do not outweigh the risks, which I feel are completely consistently downplayed because thinness is just framed as so much more valuable by our society. And I understand the pushback when Serena came out, suggesting she was using a GLP-1. There were a lot of people that were very disappointed. And the same goes for other celebrities who have, embodied this body positive kind of persona, this brand. And suddenly now they're taking a weight loss injection. It feels disappointing to young girls and women who are trying to work on respecting their body through its amazing functions like sports, to see her attach herself to a weight loss narrative as a spokesperson. I ultimately have compassion for celebrities, who are too navigating this kind of skinny is back era when their body is their business card and they feel that they have to keep up from an aesthetic perspective, from a body perspective, if they want to stay relevant in their careers. But at the same time, compassion doesn't erase responsibility. And these folks have massive responsibility when they have such a platform. So I think my 2 cents is that, making private choices about your body, totally fair game. I do not think that celebrities need to tell us everything that they are doing, whether it's for their health or aesthetics. It's really not our business. Sharing that choice publicly gets into a bit more of a gray area because, again, yes, people like transparency, but one of the reasons they like transparency is because they want to emulate what you are doing, right? When perhaps they don't have any business emulating what you are doing, right? And then I do think profiting from it on a mass scale, especially when you are not a medical professional who is communicating the risks and benefits of these meds in a nuanced way, that can feel like it's gone a bit too far.
Oh, I agree. And you know what I think is really cool is we do have this kind of glorified people that maybe do, if people do need this medication, then absolutely, that is a great thing for you. That's what it's made for. But for the people that don't, and the people that are taking it to a dangerous extreme, I look at people like Christina Aguilera, for example, and you're like, whoa, okay, settle. But then to flip the coin, watching Taylor Swift's End of an Era docuseries when she is saying, she's not saying she needs to be skinny. She's saying that she needs to be strong. She needs to be fit. She needs to have stamina. And she's showing you these really hard workouts, but also the fact that she's eating all of this protein and all of that sort of stuff. And then you see similar with Adele and Lizzo. And it makes me very grateful for people like that are still putting out this positive message, because can you believe that in 2026 that SkinnyTok exists? You would think that was long gone with like heroin chic that we had back in our day. But what do you think about SkinnyTok? Because to me, I'm just like, what the hell? Get out of my
I
timeline.
know. I know. Don't we wish it would? Yeah. So like SkinnyTok. To be honest, yeah, it still shocks me a little bit, but also I've come to terms with this is diet culture. It's nothing new. It's nothing old. And Skinny Talk is really this subculture on social media that glorifies thinness at any and all expenses, right? So it's really promoting restrictive eating behaviors under the guise of like femininity and discipline and willpower. And this is just like owning it. It's really owning it because we've just gotten through this whole wellness culture phase of,
Yeah.
clean eating, like, very like natural clean eating, Pilates girlies who are sharing their beautiful what in a days with these like massive smoothie bowls and avocado toast with all these toppings. And like the Skinny Talk
Yes.
girls come in there and they're like, bullshit. Like those girls aren't eating that to look that thin. And this is what you actually need to do if you want to look thin. And it's basically don't eat girls. And so
Yeah.
like it's it's incredibly dangerous though. I mean, both sides of that have negative implications, right? But I think that the real the some of the contributors to Skinny Talk, why it's taken off is one, Ozempic, obviously, because we know that, thinness forever has been, a marker of moral value and social status. So when Ozempic comes into the fold and basically thinness can become transactional, it threatens the folks who have built identity capital around achieving thinness the kind of quote unquote hard way. And then that's why we see this moral counter movement of Skinny Talk, this no pain, no gain, just eat less to be like, eat small to be small. If you don't want to go to the gym, just call yourself a pig and oink, oink, oink. Like it's just this, it's like
So
back to Jillian
stupid.
Michaels. Yes. And then I
Yeah.
think also, I mean, this is true for the Ozempic boom, but also the Skinny Talk boom. We are living through a really socially, financially, culturally, politically uncertain timeline right now across the
Yeah.
world. And when the world and your world feels unpredictable and uncertain, the body becomes a project and food becomes the easiest thing that we feel we can control. And that's what's happening. This is how eating disorders happen. And I really do think it is one of the big reasons we are seeing such an emphasis on let's control the body, let's be smaller, let's like romanticize this thinness again.
When you think of celebrities that are like in the game right now that have such huge influence, who would you say are the celebrities in pop culture that people should be following for good influence and good role modeling when it comes to this sort of stuff, so they don't get trapped into that Skinny Talk like diet culture in a negative light? Who would be your favorites?
Well, I am a Swiftie, so I'm gonna kind of piggyback on what you were saying earlier. I'm just so grateful that young girls have Taylor Swift, and not just from a body perspective, but I think also just she really does embody so many traits that I think that as a mom, like I want my kids to embody, whether that's generosity, kindness, like kindness to others, modesty. I think like, obviously she owns her confidence, but she's not a diva. She's, and I think that eh, for all the haters out there of the people who hate Taylor Swift, I'm like, but wouldn't you rather have your daughter learning from someone like her versus, that Skinny Talk influencer that they're following? So I would say that I think also Selena Gomez, who was a buddy of hers, is also a good kind of body role model because she's been through her body ups and downs because of her lupus. And she, I think she just has really learned to embrace her body as it goes through different phases of life in a really, graceful way. And I also think that's really healthy for young people to see bodies changing, right? We tend to just think that we stay stagnant since, you're 16 years old and you're a celebrity and you're just supposed to look like that for the rest of your career. And so I do appreciate that she's, open about that. She doesn't hide the fact that her body is changing up, down. She doesn't moralize it. She doesn't, talk down to herself over it. I think that's really healthy.
Yeah, I also actually, to add another name to the list, I would say Rihanna. Like, Rihanna's had 3 kids.
Yes.
So many people were
Yes.
like, we even saw Beyonce like torturing herself to get back to her pre-body weight after she had some twins. Like, girl, you just had 2 babies. Like, calm down. But, you see Rihanna, she's had 3 babies. She's not in a hurry to be getting skinny. She's doing her Fenty, like, lingerie photo shoots, and she is curvy, she is postnatal, and she is sometimes pregnant in those. I think that is like so much more powerful to me. And I feel like there's also
100%.
some people, there's people coming out in New Zealand, like there's a girl that I have started following, and I'm actually like following one of her programs at the moment. Her name, she's Mind Body Brit, and her whole thing is like resetting the mindset. So it's all about, yes, it's about healthy eating, but no, it's not realistic to say you're never going to have McDonald's, but you also need to have like change your habits and your why. And it's actually about having more energy and sleeping better and all round feeling good. It's not just feeling good when you look in the mirror. And I think the more and more people that pop up like her, people like you, is like super important. And the fact that you've got a new book out that people can check out is pretty awesome as well. So can you tell us about that? The Hunger Crushing Combo?
Of course. Yes. So, as we know, living and breathing diet culture since childhood,
Since birth.
since birth, basically, we were drinking so much breast milk, Abby.
Oh my God.
No, we know that diets come, the trends come and go, but they all basically tell you to do one thing, which is cut something out that you love, whether it's sugar or fat or like a chunk of calories. You're not allowed to eat, before noon. There's all these rules. And what this does is it puts us in a state of scarcity mentality that always triggers hyperfixation, obsession, binging. And then you're just going to quit and throw in the towel and you start the new diet like next week. So the hunger crushing combo method flips this script because it's working with your biology and your psychology to think about what we are adding, not taking away. And the 3 things we want to focus on adding are fiber, protein, and healthy fats. These are the hunger crushing combos, the hunger crushing compounds that keep you fuller longer. They stabilize your blood sugars. They help to quiet that incessant food noise and those food cravings. And they help you meet your healthiest, happiest weight without getting into that deprivation mode.
Yes, because I think that's so important. Like I did a detox last year, and yes, I lost weight and stuff like that, but I felt constantly terrible and kind of tortured. Like it was a really good kind of reset for me, but I was also like, oh my God, I'm so tired. And all I want is to just have one matcha latte. That's all I want is a little bit of caffeine or something.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it is so crazy. So that's a really interesting like way to look at it. And it's actually easier than you think it is when you get into the habit of it, because it's all just habitual, right?
Exactly. And again, when we are thinking about what we're adding, not taking away, we actually tend to edge out some of the less satiating, less nutritious foods without thinking that we are in a diet. So it's really amazing. The research on this is mind blowing. One study found when people basically shifted the percentage of their total calories from protein from about 10 to 15% total calories to up to 20 to 30%. So they increased the relative protein in their diet. They effortlessly, naturally, spontaneously slashed 400 calories without even thinking about it. They didn't think, I'm on a diet and now I'm going to I'm really I'm craving this, I'm wanting that, I'm on this diet, it really sucks. They just did it and they didn't even notice. Same with fiber. By adding about 12 grams of fiber, which is like a cup and a half of raspberries, it's not that much, people just naturally cut 300 calories from their diet. Again, didn't think about it, didn't think, oh, I'm on a diet. That's enough to lose over a pound of weight per week, again, without even thinking about it. And that's so key to helping to get you to that body weight that best serves you, without kind of getting back in that cycle of like restrict, then binge, repent, repeat. It's messy.
And it's also like, I find, I don't know if it's because I am high anxiety and also I'm ADHD, so I hyper focus on stuff. But like, I remember in lockdown, because I was just eating like crap all the time, I got like Weight Watchers and was like doing this crazy like thing. And then when I tried to cancel it, I was saying like, this is actually messing with me. And I think it's actually giving me like really bad thoughts about my body. And like, I'm obsessing about food constantly and calorie counting, and I don't think it's healthy. And they tried to convince me like in 3 different ways to not cancel it. And I was like, no, I'm literally telling you that if I keep doing this, I'm going to be drifting towards having an eating disorder. And all you care about is still getting my like $30 a month or what it is. It was wild. So I think that like having things like your book, following people like you on Instagram is just so much better than all of that bullshit that is out there. So Abbey, thank you so much for joining us today. I always really love talking to you. And if anybody wants to get their hands on your book or to follow you on socials, it's all in the show notes. And just keep doing the amazing mahi, the amazing work that you're doing, because it's very, very powerful. So thank you so much for your time, Abbey.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I love her so much. And she also has a podcast called Bite Back. So if you want to catch up with Abbey, just go down to the show notes and everything will be in there. But thank you so much for joining us today. If you think that there is someone in your life that could benefit from listening to this conversation, then please share it with your friends, share it with your family, whoever. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. We're going to be back on Tuesday with your pop culture wrap. But thank you genuinely so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. We'll see you then. Have a good week. Bye-bye. And eat the chocolate, God damn it.